Alright guys, welcome back. We got the Silverback Z06 in the shop. For those of you guys that don't know what this car is, this is Chris's Corvette. This is one of the OG vehicles of LS Nasty. The cow and the Silverback are the staples of LS Nasty, kind of what started it all. And this one here has made a vast transformation from where it started off as. Now the setup that is in this hot rod, Holley EFI, Holley Dominator. It's got a CR Crawford Racing harness, so it still has all like the factory amenities and all your door poppers work and everything like that, but it runs off Holley. Still got a radio, heated seats, all that stuff.
Backup camera.
Backup camera. RPM power glide in the rear. Torque tube sounds like hell. You guys know it always sounds like the crank's falling out of it, but the crank is fine. The crank in this thing is pretty badass. This is a Black Sheep Stage 3 engine package from TKM, so this is identical to the engine that we have in the Black Sheep. This one's just got a set of cathedral port heads on it. It's toned down slightly. We're not trying to make crazy horsepower with it. We just want something that is pretty sporty, and that this thing is. So it was built probably a year ago, and we've run it a couple times. Really haven't gotten the bugs worked out of it. That's why we got it in the shop right now. So it runs on methanol. It's got a radiator, so no intercooler or anything like that. It's a twin turbo setup. Now it's got twin forced inductions. I think they're like 74s or 78s. They're pretty healthy sized turbos. And we haven't had this thing over really 20 pounds. It's run some pretty good numbers for just like extremely soft tune up all around. Been having an issue with it smoking, it consuming oil, and there's two things I do want to talk to you guys about when you guys see a turbo car smoking. You'll see the Black Sheep smoke every once in a while in the burnout, and it'll just shoot white smoke up, and that's pretty much it. Once you clear it out, it's gone. So the way the turbo works is, I don't know if I got a turbo sitting around here anywhere.
You do.
You do. It's a big one.
I got a bunch.
You got this.
All right, here, set that sucker up here on the table.
You got one right there. I don't know about
and I got one right there, and I got two right there. Hold on, we can just go right over here. We can go right over
All right, I was gonna say there's two in the Colorado.
This is way easier.
About a second. That one over there.
All right. So you have a inlet and an outlet on the turbo. This one's sitting on a Maven mount. So all turbos like this, unless they're like a comp oilless turbo, they require oil to lubricate the bearings. This is a journal bearing style. Some of them are dual ball bearing, but unless it's a comp oilless turbo, it needs oil. So you have an oil feed coming from wherever, whether you have an external oil pump or somewhere in the block, or on a lot of the LS stuff, there's like a small like -3 or -4 female fitting that is off of like pretty much where the oil filter is, and you run a little line up here and pow, that's your oil feed. Some turbos you have to put like a nitrous jet in there to restrict the oil flow. Other ones it doesn't matter. So you have your oil feed here and you have your oil drain down here. So now your oil drain, like on this setup here, as you can see, our front cover has a fitting there and a fitting on the other side. Twin turbo setup, it's going to have two drains. This is going to be what you call a gravity feed. So the turbo is higher than the drain inlet on the front cover, so all you have to do is run an AN line, like a 45 off here, and a line down there, and then like a 90 or 45, and as you crank the car up, it's got oil pressure, it sends oil through the turbo, right, comes out the bottom, it will drain back into the pan that way. Now on the Black Sheep and a lot of these other cars where the turbo is below the oil pan, or even, or like extremely low, which is good in some cases. You want to try to keep all like your weight forward and low for some of the radial cars, trying not to wheelie and everything like that. You run what's called a Scavenge pump. So this is a Scavenge pump. This is what Matt runs on MK Ultra. This is what we are running on Slick Rick. And what this does is, because you do not have the option to gravity feed your oil return back into the engine, you need to use a Scavenge pump. So the turbo and all that's pretty low. You have to have your drain, you have to have a line that goes to this. Once the line gets full of oil, or as oil gets to the pump then, as you guys would guess, pumps it back into the engine. Whether you have it going to the front cover, the valley cover, the oil pan, wherever, the pump has to pump the oil back to the engine. If you have any part of the line that goes uphill, you're going to run into an issue. You guys have seen it before when the cow smokes. I actually, when I installed the turbo kit last, instead of putting my drain below my steering rack, I put it above it, so it had a hump, and the oil would get caught up in that hump, and it would sit there, and it would kind of drain halfway over, but if I hit the brakes and it was full of oil, all that would slosh back forward and go into the rear housing of the turbo, it'd get hot because it things like giant cast heat sink essentially, full of exhaust fumes and hot ass air from the engine, and turns that shit into smoke, and then pow out the exhaust. It's just puffing white smoke, and everyone's like, God dang, that thing's a piece of shit. Well, it's not a piece of shit. It's backing up some oil. If it backs up enough, it will start getting into the other side of the turbo. And then you have a real issue when your engine starts ingesting oil like that. That is not good. As soon as you start ingesting oil, I mean, look at this. It's just been dripping. As soon as you start ingesting oil into the engine, you're in trouble. You're going to knock the octane right out of your fuel. I don't want to wipe this on my pants. You knock the octane out of the fuel, and if there's enough of it, I mean, you could hurt the motor. Your tune-up's a mess. You can't really go fast. You can't lean on it. And that's where we've been running into an issue with this. So you guys saw right when we did the burnout at Fayetteville, smoked a little bit, cleared up. I was like, oh, it's not that bad. And then halfway down track, everyone's like, dude, that thing's smoking like crazy. First thing you do is you pop the hood. You see it's got oil on the belt here I mean, there's just oil. You should not have oil coming out really anywhere. I mean, this whole ring right here is just covered in oil. This dual seal clamp from Race Part Solutions is covered in oil. So if oil's getting all the way up here, you know it's in the intake.
Oh yeah, it was coming out, but the blow-off valve's pretty healthy too.
That's another sign as well. Yeah, see, they're dirty too. So this needs to be addressed. So if we go under here, we'll take a look at this. How can you see things over here? You got a good view?
Oh yeah, we're good.
All right. So just for reference, here's your K-member. This is like a factory GM part, I guess, for the Corvettes. Very, very low. I mean, this is even with the bumper, and everyone knows Corvettes are low. Your turbo's right here. So this is how they have the Scavenge setups on this car. Twin turbo setup, single Scavenge pump. That's no problem at all. You got like an ICT billet, or I don't know who makes it. It's like a billet billet T6 male adapter, so it's 2 bolts, so it bolts right onto the housing. 90-degree fitting here, and it runs straight across. Now both turbos are set up like this, where it goes into a T, and then it goes through this aluminum piece, and then it was at 120s back to the Scavenge pump. None of that is really downhill because it is so low to the ground. So I'm tempted to crack this open right now and see what's in there, because I'm sure it's just full of oil right now, because all this oil and everything's backing up before it's even getting to the Scavenge pump. And then, I mean, look at everything is just oily. It's just not ideal. So we need to figure out a way without moving the turbo placement, because the turbos they're in the grill, which is very low. So maybe if the turbos were higher, we wouldn't have to deal with this, but they are where they are. We're not going to move the turbos because then you have to change everything. We need to find a way to fix the turbo drain without moving everything around. So my thought would be, and I'm going to ask you guys what your guys' thoughts are. Now Matt and I have talked about this, there's no Maven mount or anything holding the center section. The only thing holding the turbo in place is the charge pipe and the hot side. So you can clock the center section whichever way you'd like. So if you clocked it to where instead of going straight up and down, it was sitting at a 45, you gain a little bit of clearance, and then you could run a 45 off that, which would really get you down, really kind of force that oil away from the center section of the turbo. But what do you do with it then? Do you run a Scavenge pump on each turbo to then pump back? Can you run a Scavenge pump that close to the turbo? I don't know. Ideally, you'd have some sort of reservoir.
Yeah, you got it.
Reservoir, whatever.
I mean, it's not milk.
No, it's not milk. Some sort of reservoir to hold the oil and catch it, and then have the pump on the other side. So it gave it kind of like a baffle. It gave it some wiggle room that when you fire it up and the pump's priming, it fills up before it backs up in the turbo. So what we're going to do today is we're going to pull the Scavenge system off and just see what it looks like. If it's all full of oil all through here, it's probably not good. If it's not all full of oil through here, it's still probably not good because we know it's not working efficiently. And I'm kind of stumped. Now, there is one option, which is to run the comp oilless turbos. don't really have much experience with that. So, yeah. Here we are. But we need to get this thing running right because it's been sitting around for way too long and not being used, and it's a very badass hot rod with a lot of very nice parts that needs to go out there and go fast. I mean, look at this thing. It's got the TRZ K-member on there, strange brakes. Look at those TRZ billet spindles. It's got strange coilovers up front. I mean, this thing's a hot rod. So I guess there's nothing to do but it. So we'll get to it.
It's awfully dirty.
It is awfully dirty. There's a lot of oily mess. Race cars or street cars should not look like this.
No. Got you. Yum.
Yeah, it's not the.
Does it look like caramel?
It's not the grandest. See, none of this oil is getting to the scavenge pump. We still got a couple more lines to go before we get there.
David coming in clutch with bucket placement.
I think the biggest thing when building a car
Yeah,
that's going to have like all this stuff on there is you really have to be very strategic on how you build it. You gotta.
Here, let me hold the light. That way I can help. Yeah, I think we can see better. Oh God.
Going on the fritz.
DJ, you got any? You got any some cutters?
Cutters?
Yeah.
Second drawer. The second drawer down on the left side of the black box.
Oh God, that's not very smart. Thank you.
Touch that zip tie, whole thing falls off.
Yeah. I don't know what's holding this. I mean, I think
The other side.
the fender where it's
Yeah.
zip tied to the fender. It's holding it on there. Oh.
Oof. Yum.
I'm gonna take the whole line off. It's probably gonna drip on me over here now.
Yeah. We've only got one drain pan, John.
God, this car literally has like $5,000 in AN fittings on it.
Oh. Not bad.
Want a rag?
Could have been worse.
Yeah, let me go. Oh. This line is full.
Pour it in the bucket.
That line is just full of it. Oh, got it on my hoodie. Peso, I need a new
Peso,
hoodie.
yeah.
Peso, come on, I need a new hoodie, bro.
They're nice hoodies. Or you could go get one from, lsnasty.com.
LSNasty.com. I'd highly recommend going to LSNasty.com and getting one.
I picked up the 13-star one. Mint.
Yeah, it's a good looking. We got some very, very hot items on the LSNasty store. Oh, I just put my whole elbow in it. Oh my God, it's not good. Peso, hit me up. All right. So that is part of the subframe. Oh, you want me to take this off? Right off the turbo. Man, this is a pain in the ass to get. You're probably better off to take the aluminum thing off. That's all she wrote, boys. I don't think I got much more ass than that. This is like the behind the scenes. This is like the stuff that I generally like shut the camera off to film, and then you guys are like, I wish you guys would show more clips of y'all working.
This is it.
Yeah, this is it. And then someone's gonna be like, why don't you do a time lapse? I'm tired of watching y'all work that wrench. And I'll be like, huh. Alright, buckaroo. Alright. Boys, girls, kids, dogs, cats, turtles, rats, ferrets. we have an issue here. If you look down here, we got all the scavenge system off. This whole bucket is full. That's all oil that is not been scavenged. That's pre-scavenge system. And then coming out of the charge pipe is just 100%. We just pop the charge pipe off, and I don't know if it's the way that this turbo is clocked, being that the bottom side of it is the outlet of the turbo, and that one, they're not mirror image, so it's the top. So I'm sure if we took the compressor cover off that, the bottom part of that turbo would be full of oil. But here, all the oil is going to rest on the bottom side of it. So as you can see here, it is not good. So needed to take the charge pipe off to get all this oil out of. We need to take the compressor cover off the turbos, clean those out of oil, take the charge pipe off, what we're doing, clean that out of oil. Really need to pull the intake off.
Throttle body intake off.
Yeah, get all the oil out of that, and make sure that when we fire it up next, it is properly scavenging so nothing backs up. Because having all that stuff in there is not good. Do we know how? I've never taken the charge pipe off this thing.
Take the wastegate dumps off. That's what it looks like.
Oh, I see what you're saying. God, that's very inconvenient. Well, let's see if we can wiggle it out without doing that.
Here, let me see that light. I want to show them inside the charge pipe.
Is that side pretty bad?
Oh, now I can't show them inside the charge pipe.
Yeah. Does one side go down?
Oh, I knew it was kind of finicky. I saw him do it once.
You got a hose right there that you use.
Hold on.
Come back. On your side.
Nope.
Hang on, come down. Down this way. Down.
Not that much at the top.
That's because it all already poured on me. Oh, he wants to.
Oh, no, it's a real big mess.
BJ.
Sorry, let's see if this guy's got any in it.
Somebody's gonna have to clean the table.
I already did.
I think this one already leaked out.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I mean, that amount of oil is not ideal. God, I don't even want to open up the throttle body and look in there. It's going to be rough, dude. It's going to be rough. If it's like pulled in the intake, then we have to pull the intake off. There's no questions asked. I want to make a note. Joe Dieters hooked me up with this amazing knife, and it's so nice. I don't even carry it on me, so I don't use it all the time, which I should. But like moments like this, Joe, I think about you every time I go to open up a box. So thank you. But I have to get a razor blade. But your knife's in great condition.
There's one right there.
Look at this. Handy.
Look at this. What it? BJ.
Hey, it is what it is. I try to catch the oil, man. Trying to keep it sanitary around here.
Sanitary. Oh, pro.
Oh, look at this.
Look at that.
Look at this.
Pro.
All right, here, you hold that.
Oh, here we go. John's favorite thing in the shop. Hang on.
Oh, yeah. I feel like it's just, there's just so much oil in there that really didn't even do a thing.
Probably.
You gotta turn it into, I'm not
Oh, you put it in sport
I'm
mode?
practically a sniper with this. Here, let me see if I can. Oh, yeah, dude, she's all pulled up.
Yeah, there's a little behind the throttle body in the intake.
Is there?
Yeah, it's not.
Don't say that.
But
Oh, that's... Oh, give me a light.
What, is there some goodness in there?
Oh.
Wow. That's honestly, it's an impressive amount of oil in all this. To think, I mean, just think about how much was actually getting forced in there when there's boost. I mean, that's just from. Oh God. God. This is a oh, I see. Hold on. Damn.
Don't knock the bucket over.
Here, hold it upside down with both like a Y.
Like this?
Yeah,
like a Y. Make a Y.
Like the letter Y. Dude, big Sesame Street guy over here.
Watch the bucket. It's totally going to miss the bucket. David's about to wear all that brake clean.
I'm already getting it in the face.
John's a sniper with it.
Where is it going? It's not coming out. Oh, it's in the wastegate.
Yeah, it's in the blow. It kind of just sits there. And
Probably should have taken those off first. Yeah, you're gonna have to turn that sucker upside down.
you gonna catch it? Nope.
It's just gone.
It's in the wastegate.
It's in the wastegates. I meant, guys, if anyone, for all intents and purposes, I took those off before I did this.
Don't tell Chris. They're fine. Everything's fine.
What size Allen is that? That size?
That size?
Is that size?
Hey, it's right there.
Yeah, it's that one right there.
Is that size?
Logan size.
Oh, it's that
smaller?
other size. Yeah, it's that other size. Big Harbor Freight guy.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Look at that. How's that for service?
Ooh, where'd that thing go?
John, big for stripping out Allens. Big.
Holy smokes, there's RTV everywhere.
No, we're good.
Damn, this thing's covered in oil.
Well, you got to lube your spring up.
Gotta look at it. It's ingested so much oil when you push it up, it comes back down. We had to take it apart. It's probably oil on the diaphragm. Oil is not good. You want to keep your oil in your crankcase.
Last Silverback video, it was, I believe, stated oil stays in the bottom of the motor.
Yeah, oil, it works better when you keep it in the bottom. It's also very bad, like, for your sensors, having oil on them. Yeah, especially you know, you gotta think your wideband, you know, $280 for an NTK wideband. This one's got 2 of them, and they're just getting doused with oil. You know, if they keep going out the track, that shit gets expensive quick. So we are. I was looking at it. I really don't know the best resolution to that. Maybe I really don't want to have to go to comp oilless turbos at the gate, but that does solve a lot of issues with one fix.
So do they run like a ceramic bearing, or what makes them oil?
I don't know. They have they run off grease. They have like a Zerx fitting, so you just give it like 8 pumps every like 5,000 miles or so, and then they're good to go. Ronnie's truck has one on there, and it runs pretty good. Same exact thing. It had a muffler on it, and the muffler would get soaked with oil. So after about 2 or 3 mufflers, the executive decision was made to try an oilless turbo, and I think he's been having great luck with that since then. You know, Chevy SSR makes like 700 horsepower single turbo. I mean, it's pretty sweet. We did a video driving around. Thing sounds amazing, and now it doesn't have any smoking issues or anything like that. So if Comp has a turbo that would, well, 2 of them would be able to make about 2,000 horsepower, I would love to try it out and see if we could do that. If not, we really just need to try and figure out a way to scavenge its oil properly.
The intake's doing a great job.
Not the proper scavenging. It is, yes.
The intake's doing an amazing job of pulling the oil
It's
out.
got oil in it.
Yeah. All of this oil, well, there's a little bit of brake clean in there, but all of that stuff came from the intake
side
and pre-scavenge pump. So that's just stuff that's just resting there all the time. So it's something that we got to get figured out so we can get this thing back on the road. If we're able to lean it out so we can keep the oil from getting milky, which we have no drive time, so we've only been working on track tune-up. You know, going down track, this thing goes at like 3.6 air fuel. So any turbo methanol car, you guys know, they like fuel. You got to run them. That's the happy zone. You get into the 4s, you burn some shit up. So yeah, once we get the oil consumption issue figured out, then we'll be able to drive it on the street, dial on the street tune up, and start driving it around. So there's your Silverback Z06 update. Should we try the comp turbos, the oilless turbos? No? No, what do you think? No?
Big dumb nitrous guy here.
Big nitrous guy. No comp turbos. So we'll talk to the boss man and see what he wants to do. Yeah, we had comp turbos on Already made 1,000 horsepower. Hey, 960 horsepower. Stock bottom end 5.3 with comp turbos.
Kevin had the time of his life with it, though.
Yeah, 8,200 RPMs, 30 pounds of boost. Those things were singing. So, you know, if we can get another 1,000 horsepower out of 2 of them, we got a home for them. So I guess I'll call the guys at Comp on Monday and see if they have something that can say, hey, T4. Hopefully, big thing is too. Also, you know, if we can get something that would bolt right up, that would be ideal.
Yeah.
So the S, I don't know what chassis that is, similar to the TDI turbos, but
Aren't those S300?
I don't know if it's like S380 or S345 or S3123 or I just prefer to stick to GT55. 1 or 2 of those will get the job done. So that's going to wrap today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Like always, comment, like, subscribe. Go down, click that subscribe button, hit the bell. We'll see you guys in tomorrow's upload.